test. Test, 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 test. Oh, maybe I should just crank it up then. Yeah, that's probably the way to go. And then I name headphones. Oh, pretty dog. Okay. Let's see here. Why is my camera not going? Okay, there's that. Test. That's the one I just gotta fix that camera. Oh, duh. Perfect. Kind of. Okay. Now what's my Twitch? God damn. So Restream doesn't update my... Restream does not update my titles anymore, which makes it very annoying. I don't love that. It's very annoying. But okay. So if you're here, you already know what's going on. Oh. I'm gonna put a link to Pixie's Substack in both my chats now, and I'll add one to the description later as well. So like I said, you probably already know what's going on, but I feel like I gotta talk about it. Here we go. This is coming soon. Okay. So let me pull this up on screen. I'm gonna have to take my camera off in just a little bit because making food took like way longer than I expected it to, and I haven't eaten yet. Here we are. What? Oh, that's Lee making noises. Okay. Okay to that. We'll slim this down and then make it bigger. There we go. If you're watching on a mobile, probably won't help you too much, but if you're watching on a computer, it'd probably help you a bunch. So, if you haven't heard, I'd be shocked I work late, so I couldn't get on it right when I found out, which was pretty early in the day. Destiny is being sued by Pixie. I only read maybe I just read a little snippet of this because somebody let me know right before I had to go to work. But I have some things prepared to kind of like go through after we read this. I'm gonna talk about it, give my thoughts, all that shit. Anyways, I'll just go right into it. I'll be suing Stephen Kenneth Bonnell II. I will be suing Stephen Kenneth Bonnell II. On November 29th, I learned that the streamer Destiny had non consensually shared pornographic content of me online. My dignity, peace of mind, and hopes for a future were stripped away in a mere matter of seconds following the betrayal of someone I previously trusted. Right off the bat, I gotta say, I'm somebody who has, well, I'd say I haven't been really shy about like my love life and my sex life. I'd say to the degree in which it's appropriate to share online if you're just being open. I've never, certainly, I have some pictures, video, and stuff of myself. I would never shown to anybody. I've even had people, like, I know that before, somebody had known, like, I had mentioned before that, like, that person had sent me nudes and somebody tried to, like, pressure me. I said it in passing, probably shouldn't have said it, but I just said that. And they tried to get me to show them. I was like, absolutely not. They're like, come on, who am I going to tell? I was like, it's not about who you're going to tell. It's just like, it would have never occurred to me to share that with somebody. I was like pretty offended that my friend thought that I might have when they asked me. Um, I just think that you can be as degenerate as you want in the bedroom, but to like share somebody else's pictures and stuff is like super super creepy and off limits to me. And I don't claim to be like a non like sexually degenerate person, but that is, I feel like any person who's willing to take pictures or have videos or whatever, it should be like an automatic, like you don't even have to have a discussion like this is wrong. And I'm not even moral grandstanding. I'm saying that I'm saying that I know that he knows that it was wrong to give them to people. There's no I don't think there's any like moral like crossroads which you could come to where like you might think one way or the other. It's just bad. Don't ever do that. I'm at least the third person he has done this to. I hope to be the last. I will not be commenting on the experience of other women who he has hurt, as it is not my place or story to tell. I will, however, share my story in hopes of preventing this from occurring again. I have known Destiny for around 5 to 6 years now, and I often find myself in heavy disagreement with him. Sorry, just one moment. I'm gonna see if I can. I got dark mode. This is killing me. Like being blinded. Oh, it doesn't work on this website. Oh, thank God. Okay, that's way better. I've known Destiny for around 5 to 6 years now and have often find myself in heavy disagreement with him. Despite this, I do my best to see the best sides of all people, trying my hardest to spread positivity and create understanding where I can. It's corny, but I want to meet people where they are and focus on which ways we can build bridges together towards a better future for everyone. Some people call this a fault of mine. They claim I am naive and should be more careful. If I zoom in, will it mess up the window I have made? Yeah, it does. Okay, that works. Some people call this a fault of mine. They claim I am naive and should be more careful. Those people are right. When I was 19, over 5 years ago, I was extremely sexually inexperienced and sheltered, being severely terrified of leading someone on or sexual assault. I thought I could trust Destiny, who had multiple long conversations with regarding consent and boundaries. So you can imagine my surprise when I discovered he distributed pornographic content of me without my consent. Yes, you read that right. Stephen Kenneth Bonnell II sent pornographic content of me to a random 19-year-old e-girl Discord kitten whom he had never met before. And then she published it to the whole world. Rest assured, despite never having met her, he at least spoke to her plenty of times on the phone. Of course, this is what he says happened. I think that it's just as likely he used her as a proxy to widely distribute this material while claiming deniability. I do not understand why Destiny would knowingly and willingly put me in a position where I would receive nonstop sexual abuse and harassment. If we believe him, he was trying to impress a barely legal teenager using my body and my privacy. I don't super agree with the tone of like saying barely they're legal. Like I don't think that's I understand that like at some points, but I don't care about that part. Sherry posted a tweet stating that she was filmed without her consent and that content was sent to others without her consent. I thought Sherry said, hang on, I do have Twitter pulled up too. Maybe I read it weird. But I plan to get to that stuff too. But now I gotta go check real quick. Damn it! Let me pull that back up. I thought, okay, yeah, okay, I was right. So this is all I'm aware of. Cherry saying today I was made aware of an intimate audio recording taken of me without my consent that was also shared without my consent. There's more to it, but I just wanted to touch on it. Keep an eye on Queenman and our JSTLK channels. Mr. Girl might be on JSTLK pretty soon. Here to talk about JSTLK with us. Yeah, I heard about that. I did reach out to him about it and asked him if he wanted to come by and comment on it. He said that he either wanted to do it alone or with somebody who had some distance from himself, and I understand why. And he understands that I understand why too, because when I reached out to him about it, I said to him that that there will be probably a lot of glee from his community, and while I do want to tip my hat to him, I want people to understand that it's about Pixie and the abuse that she endured, and not about celebrating when Mr. Girl is right. And I told him I think he does it a lot better than me, and I did also want to get his broad thoughts on it, but I think that it makes sense that if he came and talked to me, it may increase sort of that community celebration of him being right, rather than focusing on the thing that really mattered, which is Pixie speaking out about her abuse and kind of emboldening her and other people to do the same thing, which I think is super important here. We all know that things are probably not going super great for her right now. While she's surely getting some messages of encouragement, I can only imagine the kinds of I've seen some on Twitter, but this is just what we see. I can only imagine the kinds of DMs and things that she's getting right now. I know I've seen a lot of terrible things sent Mr. Girl's way, and this feels even more dangerous to Destiny than anything Mr. Girl's done. So I can't even imagine the kind of shit that she's probably putting up with right now, and surely will be putting up with for some time to come. The betrayal, coupled with hundreds of messages I've received with sexual harassment and abuse, have left me feeling hopeless and devoid of almost all happiness. The only thing that has kept me going is the hope that I can bring this man to justice and have him face legal consequences for his actions. For the past month, I have been speaking to lawyers about my situation and what to do, and have decided that this is the best course of action. I will be suing him for violating U.S. Federal Code 15 U.S.C. and 685, civil action relating to the disclosure of intimate images, and for publication of private facts in Florida. I will be seeking emotional and punitive damages for his actions. I have been told this court case could potentially settle for tens of thousands of dollars. I am terrified. Now, understood that perspective. I think it should be noted, though, that the celebration, he's right, is more vindicating for all of us, given the gaslighting all of us experienced stepping up to defend Mr. Girl's perspective and all that. Trust me when I say I get that. I'm not going to, when I say that this is about Pixie, I'm not trying to minimize how Mr. Girl supporters feel. I'd be lying if I said that I didn't, that when I seen this, that I didn't feel that vindication. Absolutely I did. It's just not the kind of thing I want to focus on. I think that right now isn't the time for that, for me at least. I understand that like that kind of thing's gonna happen. And if you have stuck up for Mr. Girl, it makes absolute sense. It's not just that he was right, but like he means that I was right for sticking up for him. All that, those kinds of feelings that people in Mr. Girl's community have, and it's not that isn't justified. I don't want to be the kind of person that hears about somebody suffering abuse and think like it's time to celebrate. Even though there's some kind of feeling in that pool of feelings. It's like that. I do care more about Pixie and what she's going through, and supporting what she's trying to do. I don't think you, Mr. Grow, is minimizing any of that. Just making sure it's noted here that our celebration isn't any matter of team sports or glee or anything. Something it's certainly not. I think that sometimes it is like the worst version of that in the community. But it's just natural when you have this many people, and like the guy that you like is like right. But I think I understand what you're saying pretty well. Um, oh, I wanted to talk about, and I have a thing pulled up on this too. The tens of $1,000s thing. That's a crazy small number. And I see people saying that like the amount she's asking for, which is $1 million, is like greedy. These cases settle for a lot of money, like a lot of money. $1 million seems conservative based on some of the research I've done today. Um, in none of those cases, I had seen even talk about the career damages. Like no, none of these people in these cases were like public figures, where this kind of reputational damages will lead to damages to their career and affect their income either. So it seems like that asking for $1 million is kind of conservative when trying to get money. Seems like I would say that it seems like an amount that is enough to effectively hurt him and try to dissuade him from doing these kind of actions in the future. Okay. I've been told the court case leads potentially. Oh, cost over tens of thousands of dollars. Okay, sure. Yeah, that makes more sense. I misread it. I am terrified. I mean, this guy talks about potentially suing Hassan as if for fun, and Hassan actually has the resources to defend himself. I cannot imagine what he might try to do to me in this process. Sometimes I wonder if this is an intimidation tactic. I wonder if he is purposely trying to put fear in my heart when he casually talks about throwing money into a lawsuit with a multimillionaire who can fight back, as if it's an indirect flaunt warning over his capability of outspending me whatever legal case I throw at him. At the request of my friends, I have encouraged to link and give send go regarding this case here. Might give send go. Oh, I just never heard of that website. Okay. In hopes that we can raise enough for me to legally succeed. And there's the link there. I'll share that too. Money I've seen for these cases, I've seen go up to 150K, but I take it with a grain of salt given I haven't personally looked into it. There was a case that settled for $1 billion. There have been many multi-million-dollar cases settled for revenge porn. But I have an article pulled up about it. It should also be noted that Sunday broke Strader Age's trust to release all this before Pixie spoke out. Pretty hypocritical of him, given he criticized Mr. Crow for this kind of thing. I seen his video this morning and I clicked it and I just turned it off, like within like 10 seconds or less. I wasn't interested, and I didn't even know what it was about. I just like, I don't care. Sunday has reduced his moral worth so little to me that like even something that was like got me clickbaity in a way to like, get me to click his video, pull it up, like I just turn it off. I just don't find value in being informed by him. I can't trust him to provide me with any kind of perspective that's at all objective, or what his reasons behind it are. So I don't know how the data might be manipulated to serve whatever kind of crusade that he thinks that he has the moral right in. So I couldn't even watch it. Whoever's the next Joe Rogan on the left, it cannot be someone that crosses sexual boundaries, violates consent, and puts women's well-being and safety at risk. It cannot be someone who puts women in positions where they will be sexually abused and harassed. It concerns me that Destiny has been interviewing potential DNC chair candidates such as Marianne Williamson or Martin O'Malley, who have no idea what he's done. As time passes and he tries to position himself to have interviews with increasingly powerful figures such as Zelensky, I can't help but be filled with fear that Destiny might continue to succeed despite facing no repercussions for his actions. If the Democratic Party wishes to succeed in the future, it cannot be a party that accepts the sexual exploitation of women. It cannot be a party that allows men like Destiny to break into the mainstream, for allowing him to access such spaces would be a direct endorsement of his behavior. I have been told that the payout may not be worth the harassment and attention I will receive. In an ideal world, I would do this privately, but I have been told there is no realistic way the court will grant me anonymity. This means my only option is public. I have been told by a variety of people not to go public. I have been told by some people that Stephen really does feel sorry, and I am not inclined to believe them. But I am not inclined to believe them, especially taking into consideration his actions regarding me. Regardless, what Destiny did is unacceptable, and I believe he will do this again unless he faces justice. Let me be clear: Destiny has violated the federal law in his transgressions against me. He has violated my consent and is directly responsible for the sexual abuse I've received. I am terrified. Evidence log. I'm going to click these, but one of the interesting things about this is, unlike a lot of things that we've seen, like when these kinds of things happen in this space, we know that this happened. Nobody is like, well, that's not what like, we know that it happened. Like, the leaks have been so public. Sunday's video, basically the Destiny report condensed and sprinkled with up-to-date current things. I like the content, but yeah, it's hypocritical for it. He justified as Pixie trying to blackmail Destiny, so I must step in, make sure Destiny is held accountable. Oh my god. He's so fucking gross. He thought Pixie would stay silent for the money, apparently. I fucking hate President Sunday. I'll go into her evidence that she has. I'll just open them up in advance. Let me see if that's viewable. Back up a little. Okay, I think that's as good as we're going to get for right now. Okay. This is Pixie, December 12th, 2024 at 2:12 a.m. She said, it's more complicated than I feel like. There's no justice for what's been done. I feel like people for the rest of my life are going to try to send it to my family or workplace or wherever I go. I feel extremely violated with how many people saw me non-consensually in a vulnerable position. I feel like people are always going to use it as proof that I slept my way into whatever achievement I garner. I feel like it's evidence that everything would have been better with me gone. Destiny said, I think the number of people who even keep up with it to go after you on this is almost zero. That's a bad response. I think people hate others involved. Me, Lauren, Nick, LOL. Way, way, way more, and it overshadows everything a lot more. As for any achievements or anything like that, the majority of the work and stuff you've done is completely independent for me anyway. So the only people who would say anything like that, or people who have said shit like that anyway, aren't worth the time. Wow. Genuinely expected that to be I genuinely expected that to be better, honestly. Well, I didn't realize. Okay, so this happened before. That's such a bad, unapologetic, unempathetic response. Uh, that shocks me. Genuinely. I don't know if you watched me before. You know that I don't do things performatively. Like, I'm not saying this performatively. I'm legitimately shocked. I would have thought he'd have more tact than that. So this is November 29th, 2024. It's just Destiny saying, let's title phone calls an apology. Ugh, there shouldn't be no. I'm sorry, there's literally zero excuse. I've had phone combos and stuff with this person. They were fairly close to me. It's worthless to say at this point, but I'm super sorry. There's literally no excuse. I won't say or confirm anything about them. If there's any particular action or thing I can do, just let me know. Okay. That was more tactful than the other one. It's bad still, but like that's more of what I expected than the last one. This is on the 12th. Was the first one on the 12th as well? Was 12th? No, wrong one. Okay, those were at 12:17. or 2:17 a.m. was that one. This one is at 2:05. Okay, so this one precedes the other one. This is between the two. Offering to pay some bills. This feels super lame, and I don't want to imply that somehow just giving you money helps anything go away or fixes everything for you. But if you have any bills or owe money or anything, or have financial stuff I can help with, I can at least chip in with help for any of that. So it's at least one less thing you have to worry about or stress over while you're worrying and getting through this. I think that that feels bad and self-serving. I can see a world where that's just a nice thing, but I think there's too much at stake for him, and I don't know if her accepting money could be conceived in a legal way as her like accepting I don't know if that could be used against her in a legal case, saying like she's already accepted like some form of a settlement by taking money like that. Um, if that is true, then I would see that as even more malicious. So I'm not going to read this Destiny, like the DGR bullshit thing. I'm not really interested in reading out loud the things that people are saying to her. I think that you'll run into it, you'll see it on your own. I don't think that I need to shine a light on that. I just don't want to. I don't want to put a megaphone up to people saying nasty things about her at all. So what I was saying before about the money, my understanding is from the tweet or the original tweet, she is suing him for $1 million. This is obviously not typical, but this is an article that was titled "Judge awards Texas woman 1.2 billion in revenge porn case." But I think that the 1.2 billion was actually like closer to $1 billion. So the woman who went by initials DL in court documents filed harassment lawsuit in April 2020 against her boyfriend Marquez Jamal Jackson. According to the suit, Jackson posted intimate images of his ex-girlfriend he obtained while they were dating onto social media platforms and adult websites. The intent to embarrass, harass, torment, humiliate, and publicly shame her. It also says that like while they don't expect that much money to be recovered, that basically it was let's see. $1 billion settlement offers a symbolic win to victims of image-based sexual abuse, known as revenge porn, which is used to inflict a combination of psychological abuse, domestic violence, and sexual abuse. While judgment in this case is unlikely to be recovered, the compensation verdict gives DL back her good name. And the punitive verdict is also a jury's plea to raise awareness about this technology-fueled national epidemic. A woman from Michigan in 2021 got $500,000. California woman was awarded $6.45 million. And I think the thing that makes this lawsuit more financially viable in the court is, like I said, there's damages to her career. Mr. Girl's on JSTLK right now.
I got from it, because I'm not saying that Dan is like a foreign operative here. Dan was trying to say, even from a purely selfish point of view, this is a self-sabotaging thing. Even if you're going from like a very selfish, like a me thing, and you disregard Pixie as a human being, it's like, dude, you're giving this material to a fucking 19-year-old who you have very little understanding of their reliability to be able to keep these things. This is ridiculous. You are self-sabotaging here. It doesn't make any sense. So even if you disregard Pixie as a human being, or any of these other people as a human being, it's self-sabotaging.
I think that's
and it's
the
talking
problem.
about he's talking about the motive. So he's not necessarily sweeping, from my point of view. He's talking about even from a selfish motive. It's weird. It's weird.
I think making that argument is a little weird, because what we're talking about is someone's consent being violated, and then you're saying, well, let's disregard her just for the sake of argument. Let's disregard her as a human being so we can make the point of even.
I wouldn't say it's that aggressive.
This is the type of shit I wanted to make sure wasn't fucking happening when I came in. Yeah, I understand. You want to fucking say that we're disregarding her as a human.
I just want to finish. I just want to finish what I'm just going to finish what I'm saying.
15 more seconds. Go ahead.
I think that introducing a frame in which we're disregarding Pixie as a human being is sweeping, because it normalizes Destiny as a self-interested psychopath hurting other people and not caring about other people's well-being as a jumping off point for the discussion, which it sidelines the entire problem that we're talking about, which is that
I think you can sideline the problem, but can I give you a less aggressive? I think probably what this reveals to me is that Dan, and this isn't a shot, Dan. I think you're more concerned about Destiny, the person you've been friends with for a long time. That's the person you're concerned with, and this just reveals like your base level of concern is about Destiny. I'm not saying that's like wrong. I'm saying you are friends with him.
I don't think
it's putting Destiny above Pixie in the conversation.
I don't think that's entirely honest, because I've watched this cycle. I think we all have watched this cycle happen a lot, where Destiny does something reprehensible, but he's not called out morally. Instead, he's called out for being stupid or being dumb. And this is a very common thing for people to do when they get caught doing something bad, is to say, it was so dumb of me. I threw away everything. I betrayed the trust of all my fans. I blah, blah, blah. And it very sneakily reframes it, not as a moral failure or an issue where you've harmed another person and you're acknowledging and focusing on that harm. It reframes it as self-destructive, stupid. I shouldn't have done this to myself.
Yeah, I just wasn't going to include all the parts about depersoning Pixie. So
okay, this is just, I understand that you could be that way, but
Are you not allowing Pixie to come into the call?
Pixie, I think, accidentally joined, and I said I don't know if it'd be smart for her to be here, given
but it's not. You're not saying you don't want her to come in the call.
No, I don't. I want to talk to Pixie. Obviously, I just don't want. I don't want her speaking publicly right now.
Yeah, well, I wish that she would.
She hasn't asked. She hasn't asked, to clarify.
Okay.
Yeah, she has.
The whole point is that what I told Pixie was not stuff that benefits me or benefits Steven. Like, as an aside, she was like, oh, I think I want to ask for this number. And I was like, that seems really fucking low. Like, in this idea that I'm doing shit to try and sweep for fucking Steven from people like you that are fucking insane is, like, crazy. Okay?
Yeah, even changing the subject to whether I'm insane is sweeping.
Okay.
I really think that we should talk about the leaking of the nudes and the effects that
Which is
has.
Bad, and I said it was bad.
I also think you wanted to come in and point out that Dan was not being genuine. I think that was
no, I didn't. I wanted to wait till Dan was going to leave, but then I realized.
Yeah, I know you do, and that's why I fucking stayed. Yeah,
I know. I don't realized you were never going to leave.
Yes.
And so I came in to just say that I think it's impossible to have this conversation if you have one or two people in the call who are trying to prevent it from happening.
Yeah, you're like Hassan. People need re-education camps. If there's someone who disagrees, we need to get rid of them. So it's only people who are complicit with me.
What do you disagree with?
I disagree. What do I disagree with? The whole point of you basically saying that, like, my intentions here are anything but fucking honorable.
But you stayed in the call because you thought that I was going to say your intentions of staying in the call weren't honorable?
Just because I think that Destiny
I gotta say, oh shit.
Doesn't mean that I'm gonna let him be like destroyed by you.
How would I destroy him? What do you think?
By inferring a lot of bullshit, like you tried before. Like you tried to do before.
I want to know what you think what I would say if you weren't here. What would I say? And then I want to hear what your pushback is.
Man, I don't know. I'd have to go pull up the report, but I think it would be.
Report. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Can I compound off of Dan's thing while he's pulling up the report?
No, I've got it up already. Actually, I want to just say, I think I started with 4 main criticisms of Destiny. One is that he has unequal sexual relationships. often with small streamers who benefit enormously from their.
You know what I
associations with
realize
him.
what I just dislike about this
Are you
situation
gonna let him
is we
stop?
have someone.
Actually, you should let him finish, Dan.
No,
You
I
should
think
let him
there's
finish.
a good amount of
And
talking
then
timer. that we
number
can
two
have
is
here.
retaliation.
We
Destiny
need the talking
mobilizes his,
timer.
Destiny mobilizes his highly
Mr.
involved
Stark.
community
I can let you
to
get back.
harass those
Let him
those
finish
who
the full
criticize
thoughts.
him, including small streamers he has had sexual relationships with. That's number 2. Number 3 is sadism. Destiny's stream guests, including his sex partners, are routinely pitted against each other in emotional gladiator matches. And number 4 is narrative control. He silences critics. So, you were worried I was going to say one of those things?
Nope.
Okay.
I was worried that you were gonna. This is here's the thing. This is a story about Pixie being harmed,
Yes.
and you want to turn it into a story to make Mr. Girl relevant again. In my mind.
Exactly. Thank you.
That is very
Thank
not
you.
true.
Yes.
And I will never be fucking moved off of that point ever
Okay.
because it's true. That's why you're here. You haven't been on the
Hold on,
stream
hold on.
in fucking months. You're like, hey,
He's here
yes,
because I asked
it's
him.
Mr. Girl's
he
fucking
didn't
time.
reach out to me. I reached out to
Okay.
him.
Yeah, and have you not reached out to him before a few times?
Yeah.
Holy
I
fuck,
have.
this is
No,
pathetic and
He
desperate.
had-
Not
well,
really.
he had notable
I-
in this Discord. He had notable in
it's
this
not
I
Discord.
know,
videos.
pathetic
We've
and
had
desperate.
Other comments.
He doesn't give a shit about Pixie. He gives a shit about winning. It's like so fucking obvious. I don't
Yes.
understand what's going
Yeah.
on.
Okay, so what
okay.
I would
Hold
just
on,
want to say
that's
again.
true. We'll be able to
we
tease that out
went-
over time if that's
I just
true.
want to stick back to
What could Mr. Girl possibly do differently that would show that he cares about Pixie?
think I was going to say those things, or you didn't disagree with them.
No, I don't want to
which.
get what Pixie's
So-
real claims are against Steve to
So
be dragged down with your through the mud bullshit that nobody gives
Thank
a fuck
you.
about.
Oh, so you're
That's
here
what
to
you don't wanna
defend.
have happen.
You're
Yes,
here to
thank you.
you're here to defend Pixie.
Yeah, like I already fucking did, reaching out to her, which you didn't do. You
I
knew
didn't?
for a month. What did you do? What did you do to help out Pixie? Did you give her advice or talk to her? Or were you just trying to get more shit for your
I
fucking
actually
report to
can't
go somewhere?
believe that you're older than 13, Dan. I actually can't believe it.
Well, that's
So-
because you've done
we don't need
nothing with
the-
your life.
So I just,
So,
again,
I'm not
what is
surprised.
so you? I thought you said that I was going to say something bad about Destiny that you were going to have to argue against.
No,
So,
I thought you were gonna try and make it dragged into your story and make the story about you, and it's not
Okay,
about
what-
you, Max. It's
okay,
about
what-
fucking Pixie.
what would I say to do that?
Exactly the shit you're doing right now.
Well, I
Let me
think-
pull up my
Exactly.
report.
Here, hold on. I think what
Exactly.
Wait, you
Just
brought
can
up
I-
my
I brought up the
report.
report.
You
Hold on,
brought up
stop,
my
stop,
report.
stop,
You
stop,
wanna
stop,
talk
stop,
about-
stop.
Shut the
thing
fuck
you
up
would
for 2
do.
seconds. I just need to ask if Max's goal was to say, "Hey, I think this is an example of the exact pattern I laid out." Like, can he believe that without being like totally
No, but
negatively
that,
motivated,
wait,
or do
that
you think
wasn't? Don't
believing
put
that?
words in my mouth. That
I
wasn't
said
my goal.
if.
No,
Okay,
I don't
go
want to
ahead.
hear if. I want to hear what Dan thinks my position is that he has to argue with. What is it that I'm going to come on and say I'm relevant?
I think that you were made to look like a fool with your Destiny report. Okay. Look,
Okay.
I'm not.
Awesome
Oh,
underscore
no?
sauce
Okay,
just
sorry.
took
No, that's
$5.
okay. If that's
What's
if
the
that
Dono
if,
needed
so
to
the
let
posi-
Mr.
I
Girl
want to know
actually-
what you
my,
think
yes,
my
this is my
position.
position. My position
Well, no,
is you
what's
put a
my
tremendous.
position that you disagree with? That's
Okay.
what I'm asking. What was I going to say that you had to stay on this stream to disagree with?
It was more so that you were going to try and tie this entire situation to yourself so that you can
How?
become relevant again. What do you mean
How?
how? That's why you're
By doing-
fucking here right now.
I'm not. That's not an answer. How would I do it now that I'm here? What would
Guys,
I do?
look at this thing. Look at what happened fucking like with Blue Tea in 2012. Look, I was here. I wrote this thing. Do you see? Like that's how.
But I didn't
exactly
bring up
like
Blue
that.
Tea. You guys
You know
brought
what
up
the
Blue
problem
Tea.
is? You literally don't give a fuck about. That's why your shit didn't go anywhere.
Dan's
You
literally
don't give a
doing
fuck
Mr.
about
Girl said he was
victims.
gonna do.
You only care about your fucking
What he was
story.
doing, sorry.
You want to drag down Pixie's very clear, very obvious shit where she was harmed and try to tie it to all of your obfuscated bullshit. Wow,
What would I-
Pixie is
what-
fine on her own. She doesn't
But-
need your bullshit weighing her fucking down with a guy that's known online as a pedophile that has fucking videos of him like being insane to his wife fucking Shaylin, right? That's what we don't need, having that shit tied to fucking Pixie's
Correct.
legitimately
Girlfriend.
honest
Girlfriend.
fucking
We're
claim
girlfriends.
that was
We're not
nothing
married.
wrong.
Don't get a hey. We're not
Oh,
married.
so who's fucking making jokes now?
Yeah, who's making light of it now? Yeah, this is ridiculous.
I
Okay,
think-
Me. I am making a
That way
joke.
to not make light of this because you got like obviously Dan is being insane. Like
Why am I
obviously
he's
being
not being
insane?
into everything. There was perfectly lucid. What are you talking
Okay,
about?
It's just
I
it's
still don't
ridiculous
really
to say
understand. Okay,
that.
so
Here.
let's
He
let's
doesn't
try this.
actually
Dan,
care.
you're here.
That's
And
true.
You're ready to defend Destiny from
No,
me
that's
trying to
not
take
true. I'm ready to defend Pixie from you
Okay, you're
fucking up
ready
her claim. How
You're
about
What?
ready to
Okay,
defend
hold on,
Pixie
hold on.
from me fucking up her claim.
That
So-
wasn't what you said earlier, Dan. That wasn't what you said
Okay.
earlier when I
Well,
said
I'm
You said,
clarifying.
yeah, you said
Thank
I
you
was going to
for-
destroy Destiny. You said I wanted to destroy Destiny, and that's
that?
what
Okay,
we're
I'm
gonna-
clarifying then. Sure.
You're clarifying by switching to a different thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very clear.
Okay.
All right, so
Rad.
so now that you're here, and we know that Destiny and or Pixie are safe because you can protect them.
Yes.
I would like to have a conversation about these leaks and these. I don't even say allegations because he's saying he did it. So
Mhm.
I guess happenings, behavior. And
I think it's
when-
fucking.
and when
I
and
think
when
it's
you
bad.
feel and then
I think
when
it's
you
bad to do it.
and when you feel
Not bad. It's disgusting to do it. Okay. And
and when you feel you need to push back against something I have to say about it, you go ahead and push back. Let's just
Okay,
have the conversation. You're ready. You've got your counter
Sure.
arguments all lined up.
let's make
got
it
your
about
defen-
what's happening today, as opposed to. I think when you drag more shit into it. Look,
It
let
sounds
me
like
give you.
you keep
No,
bringing up
hold on.
other stuff,
Okay.
but I'm not bringing up other stuff.
Shit, I'm gonna have to come back to this. Because I can't really pause it and go back to things. I'll have to watch it maybe tomorrow night. Because I just can't. I have to talk over them, and that's. Oh, pardon me. That's not what I want to do. And I have things to say, and I want to say them, but then then won't be able to hear what they're saying. So I'll have to come back to it. Sucks. I wanna. I wanna watch this right now. I wanna talk about it right now. My camera will be back on in like 2 or 3 minutes. I'm almost done eating. But this is from Cope and Seethe. My understanding is that Dan talks on this about it. It's something I had prepared. Go over that. I don't think there's much harm in me doing this tomorrow anyways, because I know tonight's the night for the big dogs to get their voices out about it. If anybody cares to watch my stuff, it's not going to be happening while that's happening anyway. The couple people that are here instead of in GSTLKs, I appreciate you. But watch this, and then I'll give some more thoughts, see if Leader wants to talk about it. If Leader doesn't want to talk about it, or if he's not free, I'll be back tomorrow to cover the GSTLK Mr. Girl comments as well. Like the graphics.
Those of you who have been following Destiny in his orbit for a while may have started to notice a rift forming.
Destiny can help you with the slandering. I'd rather not.
In late November, a leak occurred which revealed, shall we say, a lot of Destiny's personal history. There has been massive speculation about the people involved in those leaks, whether the sharing of them was consensual, and people's both public and private reactions to them. What I have for you today is a breakdown of the conversation that occurred between President Sunday and Straighteraid. This includes multiple DM leaks between the parties involved, and conversations of the general strategies being taken.
Let me fix this.
But first, let me explain to you why I'm prepared to release these at all. When I went looking for these DMs, having heard about them on the grapevine from a couple of sources, I'll be honest, what I found was two separate individuals who had received them independently, and for one of them, they were pretty far down the chain. Now, people's level of knowledge involving these leaks is debatable. Though at this point, I will say, of all the people who aren't directly involved in these events, I probably have one of the fullest pictures. The story I want to tell you isn't really the story of Destiny. Rather, what I want to display is the machine that exists around him. Because, to be clear, that machine around him is already being exposed.
Hi everyone. So Lonabox has announced that he is quitting YouTube, and he gave a bit of an iffy answer for that. Like he said, it was in part because he was supposedly harassed and smeared by me and Hassan. But I actually found out the real reason just now, and it's that Destiny cucked him. His girlfriend cheated on him with Destiny.
And this drip feed of information is
Oh,
causing
damn.
so much speculation from everybody that regardless of what anybody's original intentions were, it has created more of an air of mystery, speculation, and interest than was
I don't know if
ever
that's true.
needed. On November the 29th, 2024, President Sunday would reach out to Straighterade regarding the Destiny leaks and ask her to check in on Pixie, as even at that point, people were beginning to speculate that it was her in the images. They then begin discussing the situation and how best to move forward with informing Pixie, which leads to an hour-long call in which Sunday provides further context around the leaks themselves and other people Destiny may have been involved with. This also includes a conversation between Lav and Pixie, which occurred during the Mr. Girl saga, where Pixie denied sleeping with Destiny when confronted by Lav. Pixie would then go private, much to the frustration of both Sunday and Straighterade, both of them realizing that in some ways this was just a confirmation that it was indeed her to those who were speculating. Outside of these two, the wider rumor mill was obviously already spinning, with people reaching out to see what information or opinions other people had. There's obviously the additional factor of speculation regarding what other
Destiny Resents porn leak rumors. I think a friend of mine's account ended up getting
other people had. There's obviously the additional factor of speculation regarding what other communities may know or be referring to when they were coming across general memes or comments. These conversations would continue for several days while they discussed the reactions from the wider community and online discourse. Picking back up on
Yeah.
December 4th, President Sunday becomes concerned.
It's all MCR. I don't know what that means. I'm in my emo phase. Please don't you know? I don't need you guys to feel bad for me. I need you guys to stop acting like low IQ children. Yeah, right. Things you guys say about me and the way you guys talk about me literally make me suicidal. I'm not joking. Do you think I haven't read the messages you sent before this one? Thank you for conceding. LOL, your subjective experience is a result of physical.
With Pixie's approach and tactics, noting that that's like every wrong decision she could make, now it's content. The concern generally being that this was only reinforcing people's opinions that she was the one in the leaks, and driving people to investigate deeper. Straighterade would describe this as Sunday preaching to the choir. Importantly, it was around this time that Not So Erudite would reach out to Straighterade. She asked how Pixie is doing, but then she asked if Pixie knew he took the video and if she consented to it being shared. I don't know why she'd even ask me that. My answer could be no on both counts and she would not change a thing, lol. It's quite obvious that in the opinions of both Straighterade and Sunday, that Not So Erudite would be asking these things not out of concern for Pixie, but out of concern for Destiny, with a general feeling that regardless of what the answer was, Kyla's position wouldn't change a dot. Straighterade does also confirm that Pixie was aware of the recording at least existing, and that it had not been created without her knowledge. The conversation moves off this topic once again at this point, to the wider subject of Hassan and the Twitch war that was occurring at the time. Though it would come up again around the 1st when Straighterade brings up Fairy Queen leaving a comment on Kyla's most recent video. Erudite seemingly had been in contact with Fairy Queen asking her to take this comment down, or at least a section of it. Though it is worth noting that Erudite is openly talking about being in contact with the victims of the leaks, and noting concern for them as the primary reason for its removal. As I'd like to do as little editorializing as possible here, I'll let it pass without much comment. Though I would like to point out at this point that the leaks themselves and the silence around them had become such a fascinating topic that even Wick TV seems to recognize that this is obviously becoming a content item in and of itself.
Keep that in mind. It's an interesting question. Symposium Brain for $20 says Molina recently confirmed that the sex tapes leaked by Destiny's former
Jesus Christ.
girl were shared by Destiny without her
Nice,
consent.
good one, nice.
If she has no legal recourse.
And I've got a whole bunch of super chats for you, Wick. Ready?
Okay. Did you not?
Wick.
Okay, fair enough.
Wick is a stinky butt. I think that's a #1 super chat.
At this point, Straighterade accuses Kyla of being snaky about this to President Sunday, explaining that Pixie and Kyla have been in contact, with Not So Erudite acting as a kind of liaison. It's also revealed that Dan reached out to Pixie as well. And from what Straighterade had heard, Dan encouraged Pixie to ask Destiny for a reasonable amount of money, as well as trying to get Pixie to persuade Steven not to sue Kiwi Farms. Straighterade would then provide Sunday with the DMs between Not So Erudite and Pixie, and notes Pixie's original desire for a payout somewhere in the region of $1 million. So let me take you through the conversation between Not So Erudite and Pixie. Pixie, in blue, begins by reaching out to NSE asking whether she's had a chance to talk to Steven yet. NSE responds by asking if there's anything Pixie hopes was brought up. Pixie then explains that depending on how that conversation goes depends on what her next course of action will be, particularly based on whether Destiny feels like he needs to make up or repent for his actions. Timeline-wise, Pixie had already spoken to Destiny in what was essentially a brief exchange of DMs. Pixie would also assure Not So Erudite that she was not a danger to herself at this time. Though a constant theme in Pixie's communications is this potential underlying risk that she may do damage to herself. Not So Erudite asks whether she can share this with Destiny, to which Pixie agrees, citing the fact she doesn't feel like he really understands her perspective, and it may be better coming from Not So Erudite. Not So Erudite pushes a little harder to work out exactly what it is that Pixie wants. She lists what she thinks are her goals: help removing the video from online, getting the guy who hacked charged, a sense that Steven understands how in the wrong he was, and plans to prevent this from ever happening in the future. Here Pixie clarifies, what she wants is for this to be the most expensive mistake of his life. She doesn't list a dollar amount, nor does she want to make him destitute, but it should not be easily recoverable. NSE responds, my understanding was it was more a sense of rehabilitation and justice. But you have a specific thing you want now, which is for him to lose a certain amount of money. Pixie responds that she feels that unless
I think it's a very effective means of inspiring him to change.
he faces actual repercussions, he will never change. Also noting that this money can be given to charity. Not So Erudite, seemingly unsure what to do with the conversation at this point, says she'll have to talk to Steven, as this request for money isn't what she was expecting. With Pixie then responding that what she's looking for is a general acceptance from Steven that he understands this as a potential course of action to rectify the situation, as she views this as a potential penance, which is essential, in her view, to the rehabilitation process. She goes on to explain that if Steven agrees, then great, that's an agreed course of action, but if not, then she will have to go through the court system to, as she puts it, figure this out. She goes on to note that Destiny has already alluded in DMs with her previously to financial compensation, though her concern is that he doesn't really understand the level of proportionality she is expecting from him. Kyla would then respond to tidy up the language, as in her view, it's not about punishment, it's about making sure that he is genuinely remorseful and changing his behavior. As she goes on to further clarify Pixie's position, with Pixie agreeing to the general gist. They go back and forth, with Kyla clarifying that you're not making me sad, other than like, I'm obviously sad my friend is hurting, and was hurt by our other friend. Pixie makes a final clarification that Destiny needs to understand the severity of the situation, and that paying some bills, which is a reference to her previous conversation with Destiny, isn't enough. With a final clarifier from Kyla that, I think he was worried you would feel he's paying you for your silence, but did want to help, but didn't want to overstep. I think he is offering a lot more than you read it, but I totally understand why you read it that way. Back in the conversation between Streamline and Sunday, Streamline notes that Pixie was discouraged by the lawyer she was talking to from pursuing this against Steven, and this had moved Pixie to wanting to go public as she didn't feel confident in any form of legal justice. Sunday goes on to reinforce that Pixie does likely have a legal route open to her, and provides further information which Straighterade is to pass on to Pixie for her to consider. Sunday would then go on to ask whether there have been further conversations between Pixie and Kyla that he's not aware of, or between Pixie and Steven. These DMs, to put it simply, are Pixie confronting Steven and saying that she was going to write a note, making it clear what happened and what her feelings were, while emphasizing Steven's contribution to her current state of mind. Destiny then goes on to reassure her that she has a lot of life ahead of her, and that these leaks would pass given time. Finally, Destiny makes an offer that if she requires any help with any bills or anything, then to let him know so he can provide assistance, and it's one less thing for her to concern herself with. Straighterade goes on to share some DMs from Pixie in which she laments the difficulty a legal case would present, at one point suggesting that in frustration she may get the same lawyer who works for Kiwi Farms. Conversation between Straighterade and Sunday once again returns to the general topic of the leaks, for several days until the 8th of January, where Straighterade would share a copy of Pixie's statement regarding these leaks, in which she states that the sharing of these images was non-consensual, and to her knowledge, she is the third person this has happened to. The timeline she provides is that this encounter occurred fairly early on in her online career. She also cites how she would pursue him in court, and that this would be a civil action. As this was clearly prepared for publication, she also notes her GoFundMe, and the fact that such a case would cost money and would need wider public support. She also, at least to some degree, verifies Straighterade's earlier comments regarding Dan Saltzman, noting, "I have been told by a variety of people to not go public, most notably Destiny's anti-Twitch crusader, Dan Saltzman." Finally, she leaves off noting that Destiny has violated federal law in his transgressions against me. He has violated my consent and is directly responsible for the sexual abuse I have received. When pressed on the release schedule of this statement, Straighterade shares a DM between herself and Pixie, where Pixie clarifies that she wants to talk to her lawyer first and send a demand letter, and based on his response to said letter, release it. I originally wanted to do it by next week, but seems unlikely. On January the 10th, President Sunday would approach Straighterade asking if there was any updates on the situation. She responded that she hadn't heard anything else, and she speculates that Pixie at this point may be annoyed with her and just simply ignoring the messages, though she assures Sunday that had Pixie taken the payoff, she would have been informed.
I think that all of Pixie's responses to this has been pretty reasonable and measured.
It would then be on the 16th of January where Straighterade would once again reach out to Sunday, asking him whether he was aware of Lonabox's stream, in which Lonabox stated his intention to take a break from streaming, but more importantly, alluded to what happened.
It's a little bit frustrating that the psycho smear campaign against me has kind of succeeded, and it's basically all because of Hassan being willing to platform it. Which is very annoying that you basically have to like suffer the consequences of someone else's stupidity, but is what it is. Someone else's failures as a human being, but that's not why I'm taking a break. That's just annoying, and it's something that I'll probably be able to work around by myself. But
within this live, Lonabox notes his frustrations with Hassan, but points out that the Israel-Palestine discourse and how he's being treated in regard to that content isn't his reason for leaving. The further allusions come when people bring up Destiny to him in his chat.
You've got Tiny to back you up, both you make quite the team when you're together. No. What do you mean stop streaming? I'm not going to stop like forever. I just need some... It doesn't matter. I just need a bit of a break. What was the catalyst for that decision? Can't really go into detail. It's been a few things. Have you just not been enjoying streaming? I mean, I like streaming. I just there's just a lot of things surrounding the whole thing that's making it. It's just making me need to step back for a minute and reassess what I want to do going forward. Is it the IP discourse? Nope.
Lonabox's obvious discomfort around the topic of Destiny led to what I can only describe as a cascading series of events where people began to realize that this once contained story was not going to be contained for much longer. And it has not taken long for even people such as Hassan to start reacting to this news.
Okay, so what's interesting is Bad Infant correct himself. It's not cheating, but that she had denied previously sleeping with him and then was in the leaks. Oh, okay. Okay, so that makes a little bit more sense.
Of course.
So Bonerbox starts dating a Destiny Orbiter.
Okay.
The Destiny Orbiter tells Bonerbox, I never had sex with Destiny. And then Destiny, in the endless interest of like trying to fuck, e-girls that are in his DMs, sends his entire library of content that he filmed with his ex-wife, which I'm sure his ex-wife is not fully on board with. I would suspect that if you were Destiny's ex-wife, you probably aren't very happy about like videos of you guys having sex being distributed to random people, including many other people. And that person that he sent it to, their friend I think leaked all of those videos and made it viral. And one of them was even Destiny like sucking a penis, and that's where the whole like did Destiny suck off Nick Fuentes drama comes from. But ultimately, what ended up happening is. I guess that's when Bonerbox found out that his girlfriend had actually lied to him, maybe. I don't know.
Given the nature of the developing situation, President Sunday suggests having a call with Straighter Aid to explain to her that at the very least, Pixie's involvement is now public discourse. And most pressingly, that the conversation between Pixie and Erudite had leaked to a wide range of people. Sunday, for his part, had been approached for a conversation by another content creator regarding these leaks, as people were beginning to try and work out how much information everyone else was holding. They begin going back and forth, discussing who the leaker of the leaks may be, though honestly, looking through it, it's sort of an elementary question at this point. But we do get one more interesting detail, and that's the fact that Straighter Aid had been discussing all of this with Destiny throughout this period. In fact, it was Straighter Aid who suggested to Steven compensation. Sunday asks, but given that your impulse is to try and find a mole, I'm going to assume that what they said is accurate. You suggested Steven pay for Pixie's law school. Straighter Aid responds, this was one of my few suggestions. I said that she's in a precarious financial situation, that she's not consulted her therapist, and that therapy bills or payments to assist with law school would be money that would be productive to her because it's something to look forward to. She refuses to tell her family, and things were breaking down with Lona, and I felt overwhelmed being one of I don't know how many people she let into a limited support network. What follows in these DMs is essentially Sunday emphasizing the situation to Straighter Aid. At time of recording, Bad Empanada has come out with a video titled Destiny is a sex criminal, shared porn of multiple people without consent. The spiraling situation is what led to Sunday coming to me. He was aware already that I'd been looking for these DMs, and was aware at the very least of their existence. Because he wanted to provide a fuller context for them, rather than just me releasing them in a tweet, he offered this wider conversation with Straighter Aid, hoping it could help fill in any blanks, along with any outstanding leaks or information which I may not have. I have attempted to present this information with as little bias as possible. I really just want to provide you with a wider context for what has been happening within the DGG machine. I personally never sought out the Destiny leaks. I have now read more of Destiny's Kiwi Farm page than I ever wanted to. And while, if I'm being frank, I'm not surprised or stunned or shocked by the leaks. I'm not a Destiny fan and never have been. But I've never hated the guy either. Unfortunately for me, this story is one that is basically impossible to ignore. It has been fascinating watching people dance around this topic. And at least for me, this is the part of the story that I wanted to know about. I'm not an accountability channel. I frankly don't care to be.
Pretty good. It makes me wonder if Pixie's just the first of many people to press charges against him. I think that it could cause a cascading effect because with multiple lawsuits happening, it would be, especially with the potential loss, like him potentially losing those lawsuits, it would make it harder and harder for him to financially defend himself. And I think there'd be a lot more attempts to settle. I think insofar as bringing about the end of this kind of behavior, I think that this is probably the most effective strategy. Leader's not online right now. I think I'll wrap it for tonight, and I'll come back tomorrow to watch the JSTLK stream. And then hopefully have Leader come talk to me about it, because Leader was the first person who informed me about it. I'm interested to hearing what he has to say about it as well. Leader is, while we don't always agree, he is an extremely reasonable person. And I'd be interested in hearing some reasonable takes that maybe I didn't think about regarding this. I really hope that, it doesn't matter what I say. I know that things are going to be bad for Pixie, and I am legitimately worried about the kinds of things that people are going to say and do to her. I got pretty freaked out just over things that people said to Mr. Grill, knowing that he wasn't quite as vulnerable as the position that Pixie's in right now. So there's a bit of a concern. Let's bookmark this. Yeah. I'll wrap it for tonight, and then tomorrow I'll have be going over this. Maybe I'll check out Queemans as well tomorrow. Depending on how long the JSTLK one is. I can only stream for so long afterwards.